Bonjour and welcome back to a new session of Learning French with Merlyn, where you will learn pronunciation and vocabulary building, and trust me, you will have fun. So in this session, we will be learning about accents, and we are covering all the 5 French accents in this video, so there is a chance it could be a little longer than the previous ones. So please do grab your cup of coffee or some water before you attend the session. Let's begin. There are 5 accents in French, and all these accents help you pronounce a word correctly. The 5 accents are accent aigu, grave, tréma, cédille, and circonflexe. So these are the 5 accents in French, and we'll be covering all of them today. Most of these accents are placed above vowels, except for one, cédille. Cédille is an accent reserved only for the letter C. Before we move any further, let me just clarify this. I will be spelling out the letters in English today. So there shouldn't be any confusion when I say E. I'm talking about the English letter E today, okay? So let's go on to the first accent, accent aigu. Accent aigu. When placed over the letter E, instead of E, you will say A. Now you see the accent goes from bottom, it's a line, a slanting line from bottom to top, right? So it gives you the sound A, just like aigu. Okay, let's look at a few examples, a few words that we learned during alphabets. So I will just be running through them and the new words will be explained. So let's go to the first word, télévision. Télévision. Without the accents, it would have been télévision, but it's not. It's télévision. Next one is éléphant. Éléphant. The next word is vélo. Vélo. Would have been vélo if there was no accent. So now it's vélo. The next one is bébé. Bébé means baby. So bébé. And the last word we will be discussing is café. Now this is a word we commonly hear in English also, and there are many restaurants or coffee shops with names café. Why is it not caf or café? Well, it's thanks to the accent aigu placed over the letter E. Café. Café can mean 2 things. It can mean coffee. It can also mean coffee shop. So if I say I want to drink coffee, that will be café. And if I say I want to go to the coffee shop, that will also be café. The next accent we'll be talking about is accent grave. Now look at the accent. It looks like the mirror image of accent aigu, right? So this accent can be placed over the letters E, A, and U. When placed over letters A and U, there is no significant change in pronunciation. It is pronounced as A and U. But when placed over the letter E, what happens? We know that E is pronounced as E in French. E. When you place accent grave, it is E. It's not A like when you place aigu, it's E. Let's look at a few examples here. Mère. Mère means mother. Mère. Père means father. Père. Frère means brother. Frère. So now we've learned mother, father, brother. The only thing left out is sister. We'll be doing that in our next video. So mère, père, and frère. Remember in our last session where we did après-midi from bon après-midi? Again, look at the après. Après means after, and here we see that après has an accent grave. Now we can have combination of these accents in a word. For example, élève. So look at the word élève. It has accent aigu and accent grave. So imagine the accents weren't present. It would have been élève. That's incorrect. If you had only accent aigu, it would have been élève. Incorrect. If you had only accent grave, it would have been élève. That's also wrong. So it is élève. So with this word, you will be able to differentiate the sounds a, e. So élève, that's how it's pronounced. And élève means student or a pupil. Now let's move on to the letter A with accent grave. A with accent grave is pronounced as A, normally, A. The letter A with accent grave can mean two things. One, to. I speak to Jacques is je parle à Jacques. Now the A here symbolizes to. It means to. Now, I am at the swimming pool is je suis à la piscine. That means at. So, a with accent grave can mean two things. To and at. Now try removing accent grave from the letter A. Now this also has a meaning. When we conjugate the verb avoir, which means to have, in one of the conjugations for he has or she has, you will see this. So we will talk about it later. As of now, you just need to know that the meanings can change when you remove an accent from a particular word. Another example of that is seen for the letter U with accent grave. Take the word ou, O-U with accent grave. This means where. So where are you going will be où. Où. Now if you remove accent grave, again it is pronounced the same way, où. This means or. So garçon ou fille means boy or girl. So the meanings can completely change when you remove an accent from a particular word. Another interesting concept is explained with this word. Terre. Terre means earth. So you will see that there is no accent grave, but you can still hear the sound e, like there was an accent grave. That is because the letter E followed by double consonants will give you the sound e, just like as if there were an accent grave. So this is not terre, it's terre, terre. Let's look at another one. Belle. Belle means beautiful. So it's not belle, it's belle because there's a double consonant after the letter E. So now we move on to the next accent, accent tréma. Since we're close to Christmas, let's take Christmas as an example. Noël means Christmas. Now without accent, the accent tréma, which is those two dots there, do you see those two dots? So without those two dots, okay, or accent tréma, it would have been Noël. Now, I am pronouncing it as Noël, which means I am separately pronouncing the vowels. Now, that is exactly the purpose of accent tréma. To separately pronounce vowels which are close to each other. You want to separate them and pronounce them separately. You will place accent tréma over the second vowel. In most cases, over the second vowel. Okay, there are exceptions, but we'll not go into that now. So it's Noël, Noël. Next word is Maïs, Maïs. Now, this means corn. Now again, you see, I have placed accent tréma over the second vowel in the word. Okay, and I will pronounce it as Maïs, not me or mes. Now, if you remove accent tréma from this particular word, it is mais, right? Mais means but. I am not busy, but I will not do it. So you see it? That is the meaning of mais. Now let's have a sentence just for you to understand the difference in pronunciations. Mais je n'aime pas le maïs pour Noël. Okay? So it means, but Je n'aime pas means I do not like. Okay, so we'll look at that later. Mais je n'aime pas le maïs con pour. Now we had learned pour. A pour avion, right? So pour means for. Pour Noël. But I do not like corn for Christmas. So I hope tréma is very clear to you. Let's move on to the next one. Accent cédille. Accent cédille. So until now, we learned that accents were placed over vowels. But cédille is very special. It is reserved only for the letter C. If you want to pronounce the letter C with a S sound, not K, then you will use accent cédille. So it's a smaller inverted C below the actual C. So the best way to explain accent cédille is to write down the letter C followed by vowels. So you have CA, CE, CI, CO and CU. Okay, let's try pronouncing this. CA is K with a K sound. Okay, CE is already pronounced as Sir. Okay, without any accent you will pronounce it as Sir. CI is C. CO is Ko. CU is Ku or Q. So now what are the combinations which are not pronounced with a Sir sound? We'll keep those back and remove the others. So Sir and C were already pronounced with the Sir sound, so we do not need to add accents to them, because we use accent cédille to give the S sound, the sound of S. If I place accent cédille below the alphabet C in CA, instead of K, it will be Sa. And if I place it below CO, it will be So. And if I place it below CU, it will be Su. Now let's go to the examples. France and français. Look at those two. France is the country, France. Français means French. So it can mean both the French people or the French language. Now you see accent cédille placed below C in français. That's because what comes after it? The letter A. C is pronounced as K. So without the accent, it would have been franquais. And I want it to be français. Next one is garçon. Garçon. So we've been looking into this word a lot. It means boy. And without the accent, it would have been garçon. But we want pronunciation to be garçon. So when you're spelling it out, it will be G, A, R, C, cédille, O, N. Okay, so when you're practicing, please practice along with the accents. Next one is recevoir. The verb recevoir means to receive. Receive. Now the past tense received. I received, you received, right? That is reçu. Without the accent, it would have been reçu. Now with the accent, it is reçu. So you see that the verb itself does not have an accent. But when you conjugate it, there could be an accent present. Now we go to the last accent, accent circonflexe. What does it look like? A hat. So it's also called chapeau. Chapeau means a hat. Okay, so let's look at a few examples and how this accent came in. French has a lot of words taken in from Latin, like a lot of other languages. So what happened was, when the words are taken in from Latin into French, the S, the letter S, in some words got replaced with accent circonflexe. I'm sure it's not clear. Let me show you with examples. The word forest became forêt. So what happened is the S got removed and the vowel before that took the chapeau, took the accent. So that is how forest became forêt. Okay, now let's look at another example. Hospital. Hospital. Okay, so the S got replaced and the vowel before that got the accent. So it is hôpital. So it's very easy to guess the meaning of these words. Hôpital. Next one, Let's look at the French word first. Fête. Fête. Now, what was the logic? So there was a word and there was an S. The S got replaced and the vowel before that got the accent. So look at it. It's fest. Fest is like a festival. Fête has two meanings. Fête can mean a festival. It can also mean a party. So if I say fête de la musique, it means the music festival, which takes place on 21st June. Okay, so music festival is fête de la musique. That is a festival. Whereas if I tell I am going to a fête, it means I'm going to a party. Next one is hôtel. Hôtel means a hotel where you can stay overnight, a hotel. So now you know the importance of French accents, right? Because sometimes placing those accents or not placing them completely changes the meaning of the word. You also know how to pronounce these words and how these accents are helpful in French after all. So I hope this class was helpful, and these accents are very used. You will find them here and there, a lot of places in French language. In our next session, we will be looking at pronunciation of different combination of letters and different words. So I've heard people say that French is written a certain way and you pronounce it like something else. So what's the logic? I will answer that, or try to answer it, in our next session. So until then, bye bye.